Hello and welcome to today's product update webinar for Just Planet. Today we're very excited to continue showing you what we did and started with the last sprint and now fully produced for you guys, the Jpi Event Messenger. But before we go into further detail on that, here are some preliminary information. As always, this is a GoToWebinar, so all attendees are automatically muted to stop any background noises from hindering the webinar. And if you do have questions, please ask them via the chat box of the GoToWebinar software. As always, my name is Jan Vierguts. I am the development lead for Just Planet. And as I just said, we now added for you the Jpi Event Messenger. And the Jpi Event Messenger brings the schedule into your mail inbox. We now give you, and not only your developers, but you as a manager, as a planner, the direct functionality to define events on a job and task level based on the scheduled start and end dates, the cycle time, the quantities, if the job has breached its due date or not breaches it anymore. It can be compared to the baseline, to the previous value, or to an absolute value. The functionality or the event configurations that we just talked about will be run at a cycle that you determine. So it can be run hourly, every other hour, once a day, up to once every 7 days. And an email is sent if the event configuration is triggered to all related address group members that you can set up. So in all, the Jpi Event Messenger reverses the information supply principle. No longer do you need to go into the schedule to search for the information, but the alerts about important events are now actively and automatically delivered right to you. So let's take a look. As you can see here, this is a standard Just Planet account, and I'm in the Settings tab. And some of you may have already noticed, or if you've read the blog, then you've made aware of it. We've added this new icon here. And what this does is it brings us away from the standard Just Planet and brings us to the Messenger app. Access to the Messenger app is available for all planners and all managers that you set up in your account. And as we can see here, a fairly clean design. We have two buttons, one of which brings you back to Just Planet, one is just for logout, and we have this main view here. And as we can see, this is divided into two fields. And let's start with the address groups. I have one address group here, and address groups are basically the groups of people you want to be notified about specific events. Now, when we add an address group, we have to give it a unique name, so I can't name this one managers, so I will just call this planners. And I'm adding now some of our planners in our account here. And you can add however many emails and on addresses and address groups as you like. There we embark no limit on how many addresses you want to add. So let me just quickly add myself to this as well. And as we get informed, this is now saved and is available for all event configurations. Again, no limit on how many groups you want to put in here or how many emails a specific group might want. Now, let's go over to the event configurations themselves. I just got a question about getting sound. Am I being heard? Can someone please confirm that via chat? Sorry for the delay here. Okay, got the confirmation. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Where was I? I was at the event configurations. As you can see here, I have 2 examples prepared already, but we will create a new one also. So let's take a quick look what I've done here. So if you have created events, you can simply modify them by clicking on the pen icon that you should be familiar with from basically all editable dialogues in Just Planet. And you get this screen. Now this is a lot of information here, but let's take it step by step. First of all, name your event configuration. This must be a unique name, so you can't have 25 versions of changes and due date exceeded. But this should also immediately clear up for you what this event is about. So in this case, I want to know if any changes in due dates in the due date exceeded states are happening for any of my jobs. So that is why I selected the object type job here. And if we open this, you only have job and tasks for your selection. And I chose the object range all. Now, all does what all might suggest. It checks this for all jobs in my plan. I could also have selected specific and would be able to select a specific job name for which this event configuration listens. Then we go back here to the event types, which is a filtered list based on the object type that you selected on what is available. And if you go back to the last webinar or the previous blog post, we basically have the entire catalog of the events that we showed there for your selection here. And as I said, in this case, we're just checking if jobs are now late or are now no longer late. And of course, the comparator is an unequal because there is no information in this stays the same. And I'm currently comparing this to the previous value. Of course, I could also compare this to the baseline. Then I have the check interval here, and I skipped the other fields because for this check, which is basically a true or false check, they have no meaning. And looking here at the check interval, I've set this to once a day I want to get a complete list over everything, and this should get mailed to my managers list. I could also add now that this should also go to the planners, but let's keep it at the managers. Now, we come to the email that you will be receiving. The standard text is that we deliver a standard subject and a standard email text, but there's one important thing if you do change this. Everything that is in brackets here, so in this case the config name, is for us to find where to replace this with text basically from the events. So in this case, the subject of this mail would always read Jpi Event Messenger, changes and due date exceeded. And if we go to the email text, this is already one I have modified. This is not standard text. And in this here, we see the keyword table, because since we check for a range of objects, we can't simply put this in one line. You will receive a clear table on the changes. And we can look at an example of this email in a couple of minutes. Okay, now canceling out of this, let's add a new one. So for example, let's say we have a specific job for which we do really need to know if this gets delayed, because every delay in this might cost us money. So we can simply say, okay, important PO, sorry, that was a 0, PO 50 is later. Now what should, there's a T missing here. Now, what should we need to do for that? We should still select the job, because the PO is, in our example case here, a job. And then we select specific. And if you select specific, you get a list of all the jobs currently in your system. And I see I currently don't even have a PO 50. So let's quickly change this to PO 51, because that is in existence. So that you can, if you don't want to pre-plan something, you can immediately select one from the list. Or what you can also do is say, no, I want this to be for PO50, even though I know that's not yet in the plan, but I know it will come in. So you can set this up in expectation of something coming also. But as I said, in our case, let's stick with what's already there. Now, I said I wanted to know if something is late or gets later, and therefore we select the end date changed event here. And we have a couple of options for the comparator. We could get notified if the new end date is now earlier or smaller. We could check for unequalness, that would go in both directions, or for larger. And as I said, we want to check if it's later, then we select the larger than comparison. We could select both baseline and previous value. In our case, we're going to select here the previous value. But if you do set baselines and want to get notified about changes that are in opposite to what you have put into your baseline, then you can also check this here. And this should be selected hourly because this is a very important thing. Then under locale, we can define how we want to have the date formats being shown. Now under addressees, this is for all my planners. They need to know to reschedule job 051 if there is a change here. And as we can see here, again, standard topic name, which will input our name here. And in the specific category, we don't have a table because we only have a specific value to be changed. So we do get new keywords here. No longer do we have table, but we get the job name, the old value, and the new value. And again, you can change this however you want, but if those keywords are not present, you will not automatically get the new data in the email. Then all we need to do, click OK, this gets saved, everything's fine. Now, couple of key points, and therefore I will open this again. We have this check interval. The minimum value for this is 1 hour. So every hour on the hour, this event is checked if this changed in the last hour. This is always directing to the next hour after you changed something. So in this case, this check would first be run at 5 o'clock my time. If at 5:30 I go ahead and change anything here, this will reset this interval to 6 o'clock, just to be aware of this. And again, the maximum value for this is 1 week in hours, but you can set it up however you like in those parameters. Now let's take a quick look at what we would be actually getting. You can see here I have 2 new mails from the Jpi Messenger, and I have 2 mails here basically showing the same thing. So these new ones are actually from 4 o'clock, because surprise, I prepared something here. And I prepared for basically the same thing we now did for job PO51 for PO49, and have the same information over here, that this got changed from this date to this date. And if we take a quick look at the table, we get with my specialized text, this table that tells us, okay, PO49 is now breaking its due date, while PO55 no longer does. And with this, you can immediately see the really great progress or really great informational value that you can get from this. Automatically, you get informed about the state of your plan. If you have a specialized customer that you really value and that needs to know when something is getting done, you can even set them up as with an email for their specific job order, informing them maybe once a day, maybe once a week, when their work or if there are any changes to the planned delivery date. You can even track specific tasks. So if we go for example, if you know something needs to be done at a specific point for something else that waits for it, and there are changes, you can specify this. So if we add a new config real quick and switch to task here, we can do one more thing that I forgot to mention earlier. We can not only say check this for all tasks or check this for specific tasks, but check this for all tasks of a specific job. For example, if quantity changes apply or whatever. Everything's here at your fingertips with easy configuration so that you get informed in your inbox immediately every hour if you want to. And we're so happy that this now is available to most of you. And why am I saying most of you? Let's go back to the slides for a bit. This, of course, comes with a cost to some, not to any enterprise customers. This, as all modules for JPI, is included with no extra charge for JPI Enterprise subscribers. And as the tagline says here, upcoming new modules are also always included in your JPI Enterprise subscription with no extra charge. But everyone else can still get access to this, as this is purchasable as an additional module to your subscription for only €100 a month billed to your current annual subscription. And we really encourage you to at least take a look at this. If you're using it, give us feedback on it. We are really happy that how it works currently, but we are sure that once you start using it, not only will you be more informed about your plan, but you will have great and valuable feedback for us on how we can improve this even. With this, for this release, I will come to my conclusion. Here, once again, if you have the full functionality of JPI Enterprise, this is all included. If you want to add the event messenger, it's 1,200 euros for the year. I really am looking forward to you getting started on this, getting your feedback. And with this, thank you very much for your kind attention, as always. And I'm really looking forward to having you back next time. Have a great day.